Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Coffee with Lisa. This is spiritual coach Lisa Hopp. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It is Sunday, June 2nd, and I hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. And thank you so much to those of you who listened to last week's podcast about gratitude and all the wonderful feedback that you gave me. I appreciate it so much, more than you even realize. This week, I'd like to talk to you about raising your vibration. Because in order to feel gratitude, you do have to have a higher vibration. So why is raising your vibration besides that so important? Because a higher vibration strengthens your immune system. It makes you feel happier and more content. It can even make you feel that you're in love if you're at a very high vibration. It also can help you manifest what you'd like to create in your life even quicker. The highest vibration will even help you to have instant manifestation. And when you're at your highest vibration, you are literally connected to the energies of heaven and all that feeling, which is immeasurable in its wonder and love. So what is the first step about figuring out if you are at a higher vibration, or what is your vibration at all? The one thing that I do, the first step that I take, is that I'll sit quietly with myself, and sometimes I can even do this when I'm around other people. And I just kind of go inside and I ask myself, how am I feeling? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I anxious? And I always honestly give myself that answer because it's so very important to be truthful with yourself. And it's okay if you're feeling anxious. It's okay if you're feeling sad. If you're happy, that's great. I know when I'm feeling happy, I just smile and go, oh good, keep it on. Nothing wrong with that. And when I'm sad, I say, all right, why am I sad? Where is this coming from? Because it's so important, as I said, to be honest. And I usually am pretty good at finding it. Maybe it's missing someone. Maybe it's because I didn't eat very well the day before and I'm feeling off. Maybe I'm extra stressed about work or something like that. Maybe I'm disappointed in something else. And so I go right to it and I'm very honest about it. And I feel it and I'll allow myself to feel it. But the one thing I do is that I don't live in that emotion. I don't stew on it for days or weeks because that takes away from your quality of life. And you deserve the best quality of life that you possibly can have. You're worthy and you're deserving. Now, when I talk about sadness, I am not talking about clinical depression. If of course you do feel that way, you should seek out help from a licensed professional, medical or mental health, whatever you may need. I'm talking about the sadness that is something that we all can experience as we go through life, through this roller coaster ride that is life. So I have some steps that I'd like to give you, some action steps that I personally take when I want to raise my vibration. Because I want to feel the best I possibly can and to be the most happy and in the best health. So one of the first things that I do is I listen to some great feeling music. I happen to like certain genres that get me going, things that I can sing to, things that I can dance to. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I feel like singing, I'm going to sing. I even can play my guitar or play my piano, and it lifts me up. It's a wonderful kind of in the centered meditation when I do that. So whatever I feel speaks to me, whether it's singing, performing, or dancing, I start to do that. Sometimes I listen to also videos or audios. I like to watch inspirational videos from my favorite self-development experts. I may start creating in some way. I might start working on a book or work on my newsletter or come up with a new service that I like to give to people. Maybe I'll even in the future start to work on a podcast or something in order to help me lighten my mood. It's also important to get out in nature. Take a walk in this great summer weather that's now come. Enjoy the breeze. Maybe even take off your shoes and allow yourself to feel the ground under you. Also very important to eliminate any junk or processed food from your diet, because the better you feel, the higher your vibration will be. And many times we feel sadness and sluggishness and blah because of what we're eating, not because of anything else that's happening in our life, such as experiences and people. I notice that immediately about myself if I've eaten something that brings down my vibration. It makes me feel that way, like I don't have any energy. And it makes me feel more emotional at times. So I know right away to trim it up. Also very important to exercise. Take a long walk or a run, something that will chip away at your emotions that you're hanging on to. The way for me to especially let go of any anger or any stress or any worry is to get on a treadmill or on a walking path and take a long walk at a brisk pace. I immediately, within a few minutes, I feel much lighter, much better. You can also take a long drive and listen to some great music blaring. Very important. Laugh with your closest friends. So when I say your closest friends, those that you feel the most comfortable with, those that you can be yourself with, those that understand maybe you're not totally together at that moment, but you can all laugh about it and support each other. I am so blessed that I have the best friends. I have people that I can be myself with that just love it when I'm just being me, no matter what that means, whether I'm, being perfect or whether I'm having an off night. They're there and we can all laugh together and we all accept each other. So it's so important to have great relationships in your life, people that accept you and love you unconditionally and cheer you on and are just dependable and trustworthy. I have all of that now, and as I said, I'm so very, very grateful. And very important as well, meditation. Now, there are different forms of meditation. All of us really should meditate at least 10 minutes a day. Now, meditation can be conquered in different ways. I personally can just center myself and lull away. Some need to have background music. Some need to stare at a candle. I also can look out a window and watch traffic going back and forth at my office and zone out. Maybe you can take a long drive on a highway that's pretty deserted and you know where you're going. That can be also a form of meditation. You can even meditate in the shower because it's a great place to meditate because the warm water can help you to lull away. Whatever form of meditation that works for you, even humming or anything that you want to do is perfect. It'll put you into a very calm place. Don't worry about thoughts. Anything to put you into a calm place will not only help you to raise your vibration, but it also help you with health, such as lowering your blood pressure. So meditation is very important. Also, what I say about meditation is that it also increases your intuition. And intuition is something that's priceless. It's a gift given to all of us, and it's priceless. It helps you to get through life with much less worry and much more security. Another thing that is very important to do to raise your vibration is to watch a very good movie or to read a really great book. If you can get into that and start to feel better, and it's got to be something that makes you feel good. I wouldn't recommend watching a violent movie or a scary movie or a movie that makes you sad. I wouldn't watch one of my favorite movies, Steel Magnolias, if I wanted to raise my vibration. But I might watch a comedy to raise my vibration where I can laugh and laugh and laugh. So also two things that are very important. And another thing that's important, especially if your lower vibration is about someone else, is to write them a letter or type them a letter. Let your heart out. Tell them how you feel. You don't have to give it to them. You can burn it afterwards. But get it all out. It is so important to purge how we feel. And then to forgive that person and to forgive ourselves. It works for both of us because I would say 100% of the time, forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves and the other person, and it's equally important. And by the way, forgiving the other person does not mean that you forget. It does not mean that you have to accept what they did or let them back into your life. It's just important to give yourself that gift of forgiveness because it releases. And releasing is a very important thing to do to raise your vibration. Now, it's very important to understand that it isn't always possible to keep a high vibration. This world can be very, challenging to live in. And we're going to have our ups and downs. It is so important as well to stay away from the news because the news can often be negative. I tend to get my news from sources that are trustworthy and reliable. And maybe I want to go to NPR or PBS or even a BBS in some way. Yes, I think I have that right. The BBC, BBC. I tend to go towards sources that aren't going to make it sensational and also that aren't going to mislead in any way. But if you find that you absorb the energies of the news, negative people, stay away from negative people as well. That can also bring down your vibration. So in raising our vibration, we might want to stay away from more negative friends and family. And also, of course, the negative news. And as you go along and try these different tips for raising your vibration, every so often do a check to see how you're feeling. At some point, you'll be feeling a whole lot better. It really is impossible not to feel better if you find especially your way of how to raise your vibration. And then when you raise your vibration, you'll be more creative, you'll feel better, your health will start to improve, you'll just feel happier and more content. And I want to end this particular Sunday broadcast with a story. And every week I'm going to give you a story, and I'll confess most of the time they're going to be mine. But as I go along and hear other stories, I will be glad to share them with you. And this story is very much about a vibration raised, and it is my personal story. In 2010, I was diagnosed with a blood cancer called multiple myeloma. And you will hear about that every so often in my broadcast because it's made such a huge impact on my life. It has actually made my life greater. It has brought me many blessings. It is absolutely nothing that I would have ever asked for. But I see the blessings that it brought and how much greater my life is today. So I am thankful for it in my own way. But on one particular day, after a couple of years of first radiation and then chemo, I was feeling as though my will had dropped. I was drained. My soul was tired. I felt very done. And I haven't shared this with many people in my immediate family and friends because I would never tell them such a thing and concern them. But I'll share it with you today because it's a wonderful story about vibration. So on this particular morning when I was feeling very much of a surrendered will, I even looked myself in the mirror and had a conversation about it. And feeling that with this lower will, with this surrendered will, it would be all right if it was my time coming up and I was meant to move on. But I said it in a little prayer to heaven that if I do have more work to do, if it truly, really isn't my time, if they could please raise my vibration, please help me to do so. I needed help that day. And then I took a deep breath and I continued to get ready for my doctor appointment, and I went off to my doctor appointment. Now I have a very rare doctor. He is a stickler for being on time. He is probably the only doctor I've ever met that will apologize for coming in late. And he's never really late. And up to that point, he never was late for our appointment time. But on that particular day, he made me wait quite a long time. I was sitting in the waiting area, it seemed forever. And I thought that was unusual, but I didn't really take any notice of it, other than that it was unusual. And when he came in, he did apologize. And always right after our follow-up appointment, I would be sent down to the chemo room. And I was that day. So I'm sitting in the chemo room, and I'm noticing something very odd going on. But I have to tell you, I'm just, I'm not thinking about anything in particular. I'm feeling, I don't know if I want to say was feeling out of it. But what I was witnessing was unusual, but I just simply said it's unusual. I didn't really question it all that much. I just thought it was odd. What I was witnessing was a slowing down of time. The nurses were walking by me as I was hooked up to my machine, getting my infusion, but they were walking slow, like they were floating. And that should have caught me as very unusual. I think if I should have probably thought a question if I was out of my mind, but I just observed it, and I just thought how weird. They're floating. It was as if natural time slowed down. And then all of a sudden, there was complete shaking. My equipment was jerking violently. I thought it was just my machine at first, and I didn't know what to do about it because I was hooked up to it. And so I turned to look to see, can anyone help me with this machine? And then I realized the whole room was shaking violently. We were in the middle of an earthquake. And I was very concerned about all the other patients in the room because they were all older, and they were very upset and panicking. And my mother was across the room, and she kind of flew into a upright position, almost as if like she had signed up for a track meet and was waiting for the gun to go off. She didn't know quite what to do, but I tried to nod to her to let her know I was all right. I was more concerned about everyone around me. It was only probably about 20 to 30 seconds of shaking. We all knew it was an earthquake, and we immediately turned the TV on for the news program to come right on with breaking news to tell us that indeed it was an earthquake that had occurred. What amazed me was that in that moment when I realized it was an earthquake, my first thought was, after it had stopped and everything had calmed down, my first thought was, how ironic. Here I am trying to save my life, and I could have died in an earthquake. How silly is that? And I just started laughing and laughing and laughing. And I thought to myself, carpe diem. Suck it up. You're all right. You can do this. Things are going to get better. You're going to be well. You're going to come through this with flying colors and be better than you ever were before. I think I laughed about the magic of heaven for 3 days after that. And when I got home and turned on my computer and I saw the stories about people that were in the bathroom when it was happening and everything, I thought, I was having chemo. I was really stuck. But not to say that they might not have been terrified, but it really amazed me that heaven made sure that at the time of the earthquake, I was hooked up to chemo because I should have been home or somewhere else doing something normal and probably wouldn't have connected it at all. But I connected it by the late doctor and the slowing down of time of the nurses. I knew it was divine. I am not in any way saying that heaven made an earthquake happen so that I would raise my vibration. I'm only saying that an earthquake was going to happen, and heaven made sure I learned a lesson from it. And I did really, really well. Connected to my treatment, I never had another day after that where I felt down or tired or had lost a will to live. If anything, I think it raised after that because I kept going back to that moment and that feeling of how much love was felt for me, that my prayer was answered on the same day. How much I'm being looked after. How much I'm cared for. I know all of you listening are cared for the same way. And when you pray, your prayers are answered. They may not be answered in such a obvious way as mine, or even the same day, but they're always answered in some way. We're never ever for a moment left alone. So that's the last suggestion I have for you on how to raise your vibration. Always ask for help from your heavenly helpers. You have angels, you have spirit guides, and you have departed loved ones who are always listening and will never let you down. They'll always come through. And they'll always pull it in a way you'll never expect. Part of my work is using my developed intuition. And I never see heaven coming. They always get me from behind. And that amazes me. And maybe it's the way it should be, so I don't get in the way. But they always come through, and I know they always will. And they'll always come through for you as well. So never give up hope. Never give up faith. Never give up knowing how much they're there for you and how much you are loved. So today, on this Sunday, please take a moment to think about where your vibration is and think about taking those steps, those suggestions that I gave you, because you're worth it, because you deserve it. And love yourself. Know that you're worthy. Know that you're deserving. If all of us live in this world with a higher vibration all the time, we can have no doubt that this world would be a completely different place. The higher vibration will overrun the lower vibration. And there'd be no more war, violence, gun deaths, hate, bigotry. None of it. Because all of us would be loving each other too much. But it always starts with the self first. So start with you and know how worthy you are. And begin your wonderful Sunday from a place of a higher vibration. Thank you so much for listening to me again. I hope that you enjoyed it and connected with it in some way. I welcome any feedback that you have. Please feel free to go to my Facebook business page and message me. It's under Lisa M. Hobbs Spiritual Coach. You're also welcome to email me at serenityharbor@verizon.net. And yes, please check out my website, www.lisahopp.com. That's LISAHOPP.com. I have all kinds of services that can be conducted by phone. And there are even some email services as well. Thank you so much again. Many blessings to you. And have a wonderful Sunday.